Okay. So, this is part 3 of Yellowstone. Alright? Not the Yellowstone on FX or whatever channel that was. I've always wanted to watch that show. It looks good, but I feel like it would be hard for me to get into it. I don't know. It's probably good though. I don't know. Anyways, so, just to recap a tiny bit, like, we're pulled over. We had just started smoking our cigars, and within 5 minutes, I see that we're getting lit up by police lights. And I'm like, oh man. So we like put it, he had the little like cups that are ashtrays, like that have the little hole in the middle of them. So he just like probably like put it out on that and then put it in that. Like that's most likely what happened. I can't say for certain, but like I can't, like it's not, I wasn't holding it. That's for sure. So the cop comes up on my side, and even though there's no traffic, it's midnight and we're in Utah. Like, it's cold, it's dark, and there's nobody on the road. So I guess that was why it was weird. And I had never kind of experienced that, but like it was just kind of weird because there was not a single car on the highway that we were on besides us. So we get lit up and we're pulled over, and the guy, he's asked for license, registration, insurance, the regular stuff, and then he asked for my ID, and you know, uh, surprisingly, he doesn't say anything about like the smell. I think he might have, the one thing he might have said was like, "You guys know you're not in California anymore, right?" And we're like, yeah," and we're just like, kind of, we try to play dumb, like we're just like, oh man, you're right, we're not in California anymore, we've just been on the road for so long, like we're going, like, we had stuff to prove, where we had been, where we were from, where we were going, so like it made sense. And like he could see the car, that the car, he was like, had his flashlight, he was going in the, like looking in the back windows of the car with the flashlight, and he's seeing how there's just stuff. There's like just stuff upon stuff upon stuff upon stuff. So he he's like asked for my Brian's all of his credentials, and then he goes back to his car. So he goes back to his car. Me and Brian are sitting there, and we're like, Brian's like tells me like, dude, like I have something in the car. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, like what? And I was like, well, like I was like, the car's full. Like there's no way at midnight right now that this cop is gonna go through. Dude, we have so much stuff. Like we barely were able to get fitted in ourselves. There's no way they're gonna be able to take it all out, and of course they're gonna make us put it back. Like it's not like they're gonna help us put it back. I learned that a long time ago. One time, from getting pulled over from a friend who was being profiled late at night once again, and every time his car stopped, it would, like, we would have to get it jumped. And the cop, I remember the police, I was handcuffed, falling asleep on the curb, and when he was done with us, we hadn't done anything wrong, and we're like, asked for we're like, we need to jump, and luckily where we were on Hawthorne Boulevard was not far from someone who came through and jumped the car. It was a Acura Integra. It's like one of the oldest cars I've ever been in, and but it was cool though. And unfortunately, it was just registered to someone that was going to get pulled over every time at that time, and that's exactly what would happen. And it was just frustrating because the car would just always stop. So, anyways, I just knew that like we had a good shot of getting out of like being fine. I was like saying like, don't trip, dude. There's no way, like we have too much stuff, and we have too much stuff. So I'm like, I'm not even joking. A second cop car pulls up. We see the second cop car pull up, And if you know anything about anything, like there's straight up memes about it, like that you know when you see that second car pull up, like you know what's gonna happen. And the guy gets out of his car and he goes back and he talks with the cop that had just pulled up with him. And then he comes over and he talks to me and he says, all right, well, I had to write you a ticket for going. You were going. We're speeding, dude. We're speeding the entire way. Like it was so like, dude, we were going like 100 at the whole entire way, which would end up biting us at the in the long run, which I'll get into. That's oh my gosh, you're that's great. It definitely can't comes into. It's an important thing to remember. We were just booking it, trying to drive as many miles as we could, as fast as we could. Like there were times where we were driving and like literally like the speed bump, the little bumps, like Brian would be tired and all of a sudden it'd be like brrrr, and like we'd be like I'd be like have to like grab the wheel. That happened a couple times and it was like I'm like, dude, that's what that's for, for that when you start like leaning or whatever, and it was just from sheer just we were just trying to get there. We are just going and going and going, like, dude, it was crazy. Like we're driving like 10, 11 hours at a time. Like we got there like really fast because of how we drove like maniacs through all those states. So the cop comes up to me and he says, "Well, it turns out that your tags are expired. Your tags are expired. So I had to write you a ticket." And he said, "Normally I would search this car right now, but I'm getting off duty right now, and because my shift ends at 12, I'm getting off duty right now. So I was just waiting for this other policeman to come and relieve me before I could give you guys your stuff back, and then you guys could be on your way." And then he walks away, and we're just like looking at each other like, what just happened? Like what? And it's like we were in Utah, you know what I mean? Like we just kind of realized it, but that cop was definitely cool cuz he was like we were in like I think the speed limit was 70 and he was like, you were going 94 in a 70. And then he goes, now okay, now I remember. He goes, "You know how fast you guys were going?" And my homie goes, 94. He just says it. And then the cop goes, "I got you at 87." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I mean 87." And he's like, "Are you sure you didn't mean to say 87?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I meant to say 87." I don't know if that made a difference or not or something. I really don't. But I just remember that from the beginning that the cop was kind of cool, and so that gave it like a little bit of like wiggle room. Like, okay, like we might be able to work with this, or he might not be the worst guy for this situation, which he wasn't. Like he wasn't. I can't imagine all Utah police are like that, especially to like stoner looking California looking kids. But they end up letting us go, and we're on our merry way, like in like disbelief. We're like can't believe that we got out of that. So we keep going, and we're just driving, 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 driving. We might stop once or twice to get cigarettes or like, we didn't really sightsee or like anything like that, or like, like we might like mess around in the snow for a second or something like that. But for the most part, like we're just whipping it up there. So finally we like we can see on every day we've been getting closer and closer. It was like 1,000 miles, something like that. I forget. It was at least 1,000 miles, I'm pretty sure. And like I can see we're getting a little bit closer, getting a little bit closer, getting a little bit closer. After driving through all those states and everything like that, you know. So finally we get there, and we pull up to this. It's like a lodge. I think that's what it was. It was called a lodge, like the Smoky Trail Lodge or something like that. And we go inside, and we're just trying to find somebody. Like we're just trying to find somebody. And we find a guy, and we explain to him like, yo, we're here for, you know, the job, like to work, blah blah blah. And he explains, okay, well, um, orientation is uh, like in 2 days. You guys can get some food here, and then just go to stay at a motel down the street in the next city over or whatever for a night, and then just stay there, and then in the morning go, and you're gonna go to this building, and then you're gonna come here, you're gonna go get your uniforms, and then you're gonna go and get assigned to like uh, who your roommate's gonna be, where you're gonna be living, and all that stuff. So um, we had to go back to a hotel room, which was a nice change of pace because we had been driving for so long. So we stay at the hotel room, you know, no major events. And then the next morning, we're on our way to go get our uniforms. And I'm going to break it off here and keep it going on the next one. So stay tuned.